goes Frank Martin and Michelle Rivera.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So this is the way boxing is supposed to look all the time. The best versus the best. It is extremely rare to see two young fighters on the come up that are willing to get in the ring with anyone because they want to prove they're the best so bad. Michelle Rivera is the #1 contender. He could have took the easy route by just taking easy fights and sitting back and waiting until he becomes the mandatory and he gets a title shot, like Isaac Cruz or a Jaime Munguia is doing right now, and what Canelo often used to do when he was at 154 and he was the mandatory for a title shot. He was actually Demetrius Andrade's mandatory, and the champion Andrade was calling him out. And Canelo Alvarez, he avoided the title shot and waited until Andrade got stripped of that belt, then fought for the same belt against Liam Smith. Frank Martin and Michelle Rivera, they are built different. Not only are they going after the champions, but they're going after the most dangerous champions in the division. Of course, the real champion is only one, which is Devin Haney. And of course, Gervonta, he has some type of regular WBA belt, I believe, which Michelle Rivera is actually the mandatory for. So my point is, Martin and Rivera, they're not waiting around for some vacant belt to fight against a Liam Smith type of opponent or a Ryan Rhodes, a Matthew Hatton. No, they are going after the best fighters in the division. You know, Rivera, he said in the press conference, he said, "I'm a contender. Frank Martin is a prospect. He's never fought top contenders or he's never beat an undefeated fighter before." And that's what makes this move by Frank Martin so impressive, is he's willing to fight someone on Rivera's level as a prospect. He could have took the Jaime Munguia route. Or instead of taking on this tough challenge right now, this early in his career against Rivera, he could have instead went the Virgil Ortiz route, where Virgil Ortiz was saying there's no reason to fight Jaron Ennis right now. That should happen further down the line, even though we know Jaron Ennis wants it now, right? Or Martin, he could have said, you know, fights like this Rivera fight, you know, it shouldn't happen right now. It's too early. A fight like that should happen like 3 to 5 years from now, like Teofimo Lopez said when he was talking about the potential of fighting Devin Haney, Gervonta, or Shakur. That is the mentality of a fighter who does not believe that he is the best. Martin and Rivera obviously do. Now, when it comes to breaking down this fight, I really can't call this one. I usually do predictions when I am pretty much sure I know who's going to win. Like when I did my prediction on Canelo versus Bivol and Canelo versus any of the top light heavyweights and super middleweights. Those are usually easier predictions, obviously, because Canelo has so many flaws. But these two fighters are obviously not as flawed. They're very athletic. They both have high boxing IQ. They both have great defense. They can both fight on the inside and outside. But just to try to get a little idea of who would have the edge in this fight, I went back and I watched the whole fight of Frank Martin versus Marinez. The entire fight, for whatever reason, is actually available out here on YouTube in Thailand. I was trying to send a link to my man Aki so he can watch it, but he said it was unavailable in the country. So obviously, if you have a VPN, you can watch it. But anyway, I watched that whole fight. And before I watched the whole fight, I slightly leaned towards Martin to win this fight. But after watching the whole fight, I'm not sure anymore. Because in that fight in particular, Martin, he was getting caught with a lot of right hands against Marinez. He was doing a lot of unnecessary moving around without really throwing a lot of punches. And it wasn't until Derek James told him he was behind in the fight, that's when he did pick it up. So credit to him. He picked it up, he got more aggressive, and that's where he started to break down Marinez. If he starts off slow like he did against Marinez, it could be a lot of trouble for him. He got hit with a lot of right hands in that Marinez fight. And let me tell you, from what I've seen, Rivera's best weapon is probably his right hand. He has one of the best right hands in the game. And with Frank Martin being a southpaw, if he didn't improve on that, he's going to have some serious problems. Now, when it comes to Rivera, I went back and I studied his fight against, I believe his name was Fernandez. He was from Spain. He only had one loss on his record, and that was to Oshaki Foster. Now, Rivera is a boxer puncher. Sometimes he'll move around in the ring and try to outbox you. Other times he'll stand right in front of you and try to knock you out. In the first couple of rounds, Michel, he decided to box more. He did a little bit more moving in the ring, and that caused the fight to actually be more competitive. Until Rivera's trainer, he told him after the third round, he said, "Why are you not letting your hands go? Is your hands hurt? You need to start punching with both hands." It was kind of like the speech that Crawford got when they told him that he was down in the fight against Porter. And we seen what Crawford did in the very next round, right? So right after Rivera's trainer told him that, he came out standing right in front of Fernandez, and he was landing bombs. He hurt him a couple of times with that right hand. And for the first time in the fight, Fernandez, he started to back up. But then surprisingly, in that fight, later on in the fight, Rivera got caught with a very, very short right hand and got knocked down for the first time. Now, he got up pretty quick. He wasn't on noodle legs or anything like that, but he was a little buzzed afterwards because he had to hold for at least a good 20 seconds after that. And then he gained his composure and he took back control of the fight. But once he gained control of the fight again, he stuck to boxing. He went back to moving. He was no longer aggressive like he was before he got knocked down. So with that being said, man, this is a really hard fight to call. Now, from the interviews I've heard with Frank Martin this week, it sounds like he understands the mistakes he made in that fight with Marinez. And now he understands that he needs to be more consistent and aggressive in this fight to win it. So we'll see how it plays out this weekend, but this is a fight you definitely don't want to miss. This is, once again, a rare type of fight to see in the sport of boxing, with two fighters this young willing to put it all on the line. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram.
How has this changed your life, man?
It's been good. I feel younger, look younger. Picking up the younger girls. I just can't scratch that, but it's been good. It's been good. I like the look. I like the feel. I feel more confident now. It was money well spent, should I say?
Cool. Now, in terms of the response, what has been people said, like as people being like, hey, you know, what do you have on your head, or things of that sort?
The most response I get is like, yo, what barber you go to? They get, such a close shave with, everything lined up so sharp and everything. And, then I go into explaining to them the procedure of what I had done and everything. And they all was like, I would never known if